Hey, hi folks. This is Siddharth, and today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic. So, I'm revealing the topic. The topic is mastering mocking in Playwright. Right. So, basically, in this one, what we are going to discuss, we are going to talk like what basically mocking is, where exactly we need mocking. That is definitely API testing. So I will give you a little bit of context on what is API testing. Then we will jump onto why do we need mocking in the API testing. Then we will discuss what is a stub and spy. Right, many people got confused with this two terminology. That's why I've added it. What are the existing tools in the market for mocking? How exactly Playwright mock can help you? What are the benefits out of it? And then we will wrap it up with a conclusion. Right. So my name is Siddharth. I guess you folks may already know me. Those who don't know me, I work as an SDET and I have around 13, 14 years of experience. So I think I can give justice to this topic, right? So let's start. So first we will understand what is API testing. Usually many of us are aware of web automation or web testing or UI testing, right? User interface, I mean. But API testing also recently has taken up the market a lot. A lot of people have started using API testing, service testing, or backend testing, correct? So basically, API testing is testing the application programming interfaces, means the APIs, right? So basically, what happens? Let me give you a context. Let's say you have an e-commerce application, right? I have written that example over here, and you want to test the add to cart feature. Right. So now, what you do in the UI, usually you select an item and then you click on add to cart, and it will automatically be available in your cart, and the count in your cart will increase +1 or +2 how many items you have added. So now instead of all those things on UI testing it, considering the kind of page load issues or maybe wait issues, there is one more way to test those things efficiently is by using an endpoint or API. So what API will do, they will give you an endpoint, maybe slash add to cart, and in that you just need to provide the information in the JSON format. So maybe item name or item ID, how many amount of item you need, and then you just pass those things in a JSON and hit the API. It will directly add it into your cart. So you don't have to deal with all the UI complexities, the load strategy, and everything, right? Create an example to explain you those points. So let imagine you are working for an e-commerce platform, right? Let us assume Amazon or Flipkart, right? And you just need to make the online payments through a third-party payment gateway, right? Now your project is going well, right? Everything is working fine, but you come to a point where you need to do the integration testing, right? And you need to test the payment functionality. But there is a small bottleneck over here, right? The payment API is still under development, or maybe the third party who are dependent on, they have not provided you access to consume those payment API, but you need to test the entire flow, right? Entire online payment flow you need to complete it, but whichever third party you are using, they have not given you the access, or by somehow the development is not done. So now you have you got two options: wait for them, right, which will take a lot of time, which may delay your deliverables, right, as a QA team. Or what you can do, you know that what you are expecting from the payment team, right, from payment gateway. For example, let's assume you are working with MasterCard or Visa. So you know that once I put my credit card, debit card, payment successful will definitely come to me, and you are not owning that part also, right? This is owned by some third party. So instead of waiting for that to happen, what you can do, your team has decided to mock the payment API. That means that whatever the payment is doing, basically taking your credit card number and CVV, and then sending you a success message that payment is successful, right? So that part we are going to mock. So by creating these mock responses, the development team can continue their work. QA can also execute the test cases without any hiccups, right? Now, going further, whenever your testing is done, you know that okay, your functionality is working irrespective of what you are what changes is happening in the third party, because you have mocked the third party behavior, and you have kind of able to verify all the scenarios like successful, unsuccessful, wrong credit card, right, wrong CVV number. In so all those kind of, you have already mocked the responses, and you are just verifying that your system is properly integrating with the payment part, right? Means placing an order, canceling an order, right, all those things. So now there are two more terms we use in mocking, that is stub and spy. Stub is nothing but a fake piece of code that mimics the behavior, okay, of actual service. Spy is also exactly same as stub. The only difference is it goes one step further. Means if you want to check that how many times your function is getting called with what kind of arguments, or if you want to keep track of that how many time your means your mock services is getting called and those things, then spy is a good option, right? How playwright default mock can help. So what is playwright? If you folks are not aware of, let me explain that to you. Playwright is the new tool that is going on in the market on the automation field. It supports web API, visual, everything at one place. So super good, right? If you haven't tried, do give it a try. It's a very good one. And the main benefit which I found out when I used it, that I don't have to be dependent on third party dependencies like wiremock or mockito, right, to integrate in my project to use the mocking functionality, because mocking is already given by default by Playwright. When we learn about mock APIs with Playwright, there are three important sections you need to look into. First one is mock API request. Second one is modify the API responses, and the third one is mocking with HAR files, R files, right? So in this demo, I am going to show you how we can mock the API request and how we can modify the API responses, right? I'm going to use the examples that is provided by Playwright so that it would be pretty easy for you folks to understand the same, right? So now let's deep dive into it so that I can explain you a little better. So first what we will do, and these three sections are already present in the Playwright. If you can see over here, this is the Playwright one, right? So it has three sections: mock API request, modify API response, and mocking with R files, right? So now you can also refer to this document. Okay, there is no harm in it. Okay, cool. So now what we will do, we will first try to understand the mock API request part, correct? So the example that we are going to cover is using this https demo.playwright.dev/API mocking. So now here what we are going to do, when we make a call to demo playwright dev API mocking, right? So instead of calling this API, what it will do, it will mock it and redirect it to API v1 fruits. Again, let me explain, right? Let's assume demo playwright dev API mocking is A, URL A, and API v1 fruits is URL B. So now when we do the mock API request, what we are going to do, we are going to first make a call to URL A, right? But what happens, instead of calling URL A, it will redirect it to URL B, that is API v1 fruits. That's what we will try to do with while mocking the API request. So the test goes to the URL that uses the mocked route and asserts that mock data is present on the page. So if you see over here, the following code will intercept all the calls to API v1 fruits and will return a custom response instead, right? No request to the API will be made, right? So now to show an example, first let's see what is there in https demo playwright.dev/API mocking. You can find the same URL over here also, folks. Okay, there is nothing like you cannot find it. You can also go and check it. So if I type it over here, this is the main output, right? So render a list of fruits, that is strawberry, banana, and till lime. All these fruits are there, correct? Now what we are going to do, as per the code, we are going to mock this one with API v1 fruits, right? And once we mock, what we are going to do, we are going to conjugation name strawberry 21. This one we are going to add, right? So now what will happen when I will complete the mock and make the call, then I should not be able to see this output. So this is the main output in the UI. Now let's go and make the change. Yeah, so the code part I have copy pasted over here, right? What's the code? Test mock of root and does not call API, right? So here you can see mock of root and doesn't call API. So if I execute this one, I will show you what response we are going to get. I am clearing this part, right? And I will try to run this test. So I will go to the lab, expand it, example.js, and what's the name I given? Mocks of fruit, this one, right? So let me execute it, right? So basically when I execute it, can you see what it what's the response here? Can you see, folks? So now let me compare it with you. So the response here is only strawberry. But what, and what's the URL we are hitting? Demo.playwright dev API mocking. So now what's actually it contains? Demo.playwright dev API mocking. It should have all the fruits. But what it is showing? Only strawberry. Why? Because we have mocked this request. So instead of calling the main API, that is API A, that is rerouting it to API B, which has only strawberry. You got the essence of it, right? So this is how actually we mock the API requests, right? First part. Now there is a second aspect of it, right? So this is the mock API request part. Second aspect is modify the API response. So sometime what happens, it is essential to make an API request, right? But the response needs to be patched, means needs to be changed, right? Needs to be mocked, right? So here what we are going to do, instead of rerouting the API call, correct? We are going to make change in the existing URL, right? Make change in the existing URL response, right? So instead of mocking the request here, pay attention in the second line. Instead of mocking the request, one can perform the request and fulfill it with the modified response. That means we are going to modify response according to our requirement, right? For example, I am mocking the payment part, right? And I want to validate a wrong response code, but I am not calling the real API from the MasterCard or Visa, right? Which has the third party real API. So but I need to test the wrong, right? That's why what I will do, I will mock the response and I will ask it to give me this response if I send this data, right? That's why we need to sometime mock the API response. How we can mock it? Let me show you. So again, keep this one always as your reference. Okay, this is always our reference, right? And if you can see here also, it has given us the code, this section basically. Okay, gets the JSON from API and adds a new fruit. I have given this example over here. Okay, you don't have to kind of worry about it. A new fruit, right? Now let's go to our Visual Code Studio, and here I have already Visual Studio Code, and here see, catch the JSON from API and adds a new fruit. So now what it will do, let me show you. Okay, I will go to the terminal, right? And here it is, right? Gets the JSON, run it. It has executed. Now here is the output. Now I will show you a very interesting thing. Folks, please pay attention over here. Okay, so if we go back to the real one, what we have, strawberry till lime, right? This is the real API. But when I modified the response, what exactly I have done, I have added, and what I have done, I have added one more input, that is this json.push name locate and id is equal to 100. That means I have edited the response by adding one more input to it. So if you compare here, you will see after lime there is one more entry, correct? So let me give you a more essence to it, right? Let assume I have added guava, right? And I execute it. In the output, you will see guava. Can you see, folks? Rest of the things are pretty same because we are modifying the responses. So, right? So whenever you want to modify the response according to your requirement to play around the mocking, you can do it like this. So, but the real one, what's the real one? This is the real one. It doesn't have that. If I refresh the real one, it is still going to give me the same output. Only the mocked one will give me the added value. Got it, folks, right? And one more JSON example I will give you with JSON folder, right? In our next part, we will discuss about the JSON folder. But yes, so now what you folks can do, you can go and try the example that has been given in this HAR files, okay? It's also pretty easy, okay? Just give it a try, right? If you are unable to do it, reach out to me. I can help you with that. Right, folks? I'm going to share a link along with it where you can find the installation steps and the code I have used over here so that you folks can also practice it when you do the setup. And yes, if you want to check that whatever we have discussed you are able to understand it or not properly, you can try this multiple choice questions over here. I have kind of put the questions over here. You can just click on this and you can answer the question and you can get some goodies. And but still, if you have doubt and if you want want to connect with me, you can try this link, right? You can reach out to me how you can use it better, because we have kind of need to explain these things in a more crisp manner. So if you want a more elaborative one, you can reach out to me, or we can discuss, right? Now, or you can check my LinkedIn post. I used to write a lot on the mocking and stubbing part, right? But I hope you got a basic idea on where the API testing comes, where the mocking comes, and how basically we can do it with Playwright in a very easier way, and how basically it give you different output, right, from the regular one when we implement the mocking in the real time, right? Hope it helps, folks. And do let me know if you what you want to learn in our next session in future, right? And thanks to test drive for arranging this test flicks, because it really helps us to share this information with a lot of QA folks, right? And the good part is I always get very nice DM after those talks and webinars. So stay tuned, folks. Okay, bye bye, take care.